Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this Saturday evening live on Bridges of Light International. We are going to be spending 1 hour together, and I'm going to wait few more moments to see when somebody connects, and then we start talking about today's subject, which I love. Well, I have to say, I love all the subjects I choose to talk about, but this one in particular is really one of my favorites. Hey, Roberto, great to see you here. Good, I'm glad you made it. Really happy you made it. If I see you on an Italian live, like tomorrow, 6:30, I will speak to you in Italian. But today, I am only allowed to speak English, because of course it's an English live. I like to thank, as always, you, that you are here with me live, spending this hour together. And oh, the volume is low. Can you hear me? Hey, hello, Walter. And I'm gonna thank you that you're gonna see me whenever, in an hour, 2 hours, tomorrow, or whenever else. Hello, Patricia. Welcome. And I am also going to thank Bridges of Light for giving us, me, but you as well, all of us, the opportunity to share this time, this space together, and to exchange, to inquire. And thanks to life. Because without life, we definitely wouldn't be here. Today, we will be talking about the difference between living as spectators or players. Hey, Evelyn, welcome. Great to see you here. You know what's coming, don't you? Wonderful, wonderful. Today, we're gonna play. We're gonna talk about being spectators and being players. I'm gonna tell you what I mean by it, and then in the meantime, Roberto, you're not gonna hear me. Can anybody tell me if you can hear me or if it's just Roberto? Roberto, put your volume up. But I wanna see if somebody else hears me or not. If there's a problem with my audio, with my mic, or if it's just you. If anybody can hear me, please let me know. If you can't hear me also, let me know. Hey, Luca. Ciao. Hello, Mariella. You can hear it. Okay, fantastic. So I keep going. Hello, grazie. Right. Okay, I'm going to tell you what I mean by being a spectator or a player. And then I hope Evelyn should stay on because I like her to come in as well and tell us what she feels and thinks about this. Oh, good. Okay. Now, let's imagine a football match. Okay, imagine a big football stadium. Who are the two main kind of people in the game? Okay, in the stadium. Of course, there's the players on the field and the spectators on the, let's say, the podium, right? Or sitting all around the field. Let's see what are the things that these two kind of people have in common and what are the differences between these two kind of people. Yes, this session is in English, yes. Tomorrow at 6:30 it's going to be in Italian, yes. Right, what do the spectators and the players have in common? Okay, the spectators are here looking at, watching the match, and the players are on the field. They both would desire to win the game. Okay, they both want to win the game. And that's the thing that they do have in common. But there are some differences. Who is more influential? who do you think is going to affect if the result is gonna be one winning or losing the game? Well, obviously, obvious. The players, hello Simone, the players in the field that are actually playing the game, they are the one that they have more agency, they are more influential upon the result of the game. The spectators, all they can do, the best they can do is, yes, they can support the players, they can shout, but they don't have a direct influence on the outcome of the game. And what they do normally, actually, the spectators, they comment and criticize the players on the field. Which one of these two groups of people is paid to be there? Players. Players not only enjoy the game, they are living it, they are in it, they are actually part of it, and they contribute to it much more. But they're also getting paid. While the spectators, not only they are not getting paid, but they have actually to pay money, they're paying to look at the match. Now, you may be wondering, what has this got to do with us, with the way we live our life? I give you an analogy. And in the meantime, please share your, if you have some comment about what we're talking about, and ask me questions. If you don't, I'll just keep on talking, but I know myself, after I've been talking without interacting with you guys for about 5-10 minutes, I start wondering, am I saying something that is interesting to people or not? That's why the interaction, and that's why they're live. If they weren't called Facebook Live, they wouldn't be live. So I would be recording my video on my own and I would be posting it. But since we are together, let's be together. But Evelyn, if you're there, I just want to finish to tell this, to pave the ground, so to speak, to liven up the conversation. But then if you're there, if you're not, I can understand, because, you know, I totally understand. Normally, unless I have to do a live, I'm busy. But if you're still here and you're willing to, come on board. Ciao Angelo. Could talk a little louder? Yes, I can. Okay, let me try. Okay. Now, imagine this now. Imagine you are sitting in a park on a bench and you look to your right and you see these two friends, okay, meeting. You're here, I love you. Thank you, Evelyn. Okay, now imagine you're on this bench in the park. To your right, you notice that these two friends are meeting. Let's call them Bob and Jane, just for the sake of whatever. And they greet each other, say, hey Bob, hey Jane, how are you? And one goes to the other, oh, you know what? Terrible. Life is terrible. You know, my neighbor is such a beep, 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 beep. I can't stand him. He always does the same thing. He always leaves his rubbish bin outside the gate. You see, it's one thing that I can stand. I don't know how to tell him anymore. And you know what? As if that wasn't enough. Yesterday at work, I had such a huge row with my colleagues. Even then, you know, I can't say, well, don't get me started. And how are you? And he goes, oh, you know what? Your unluck is nothing compared to mine. My wife, oof, don't even go there. Don't even go there. We just can't stand each other. Can't stand each other. And you know, my car broke down yesterday. I went to have a repair, and that of the guy that works there was useless. Anyway, and they keep talking a little bit, and then they say goodbye to each other, and they go. Okay. Now then, you turn to your left, and you see two other friends meeting. Let's call them Susan and David. Hey Susan, hey David, how are you? And Susan goes, oh, do you know what? I'm great, I'm feeling fantastic. You know, it's such a beautiful day. I mean, look, Okay, well, today it's not really too sunny, but I'm enjoying this. And, I've got like these 2-3 hours for my own free. And I thought about going out and look at the shops because I like painting. And tomorrow, again, I've got some time off. So I would like to paint my bedroom and do some other work in the house. So, yes, I'm feeling good and I'm loving today. And how are you, David? And then he goes, well, you know what, now that you, hearing to you, I also have some free times, and you know what, I'm actually gonna go also in that area where there's some shops where they sell car toys, I mean, yeah, little cars, and I there's one thing I love, I like to collect cars. So yes, I didn't really know what to do, but you gave me a great idea. Thank you. Anyway, I'll see you later, ciao, bye. Okay. Now, did you notice the difference between the interaction between the first couple to our right and the one to our left? Okay, which one of these two couples do you think they are, let's say, we could say they're more spectators in their life, in their transaction, what we've seen, and which one of them are players? Of course, here, there's no live interaction, but I would imagine that if you have listened to what I've said, you would agree that the first couple to our right, they were being more spectators than players. Why? Hello, Katia, welcome. Because they were talking and commenting. They were on the side, looking and commenting at what other people behaved. They were commenting about the guy that works in the garage, about the colleagues, about the wife, about the neighbors, right? They were not talking about something that they were doing themselves. In other words, they were not playing the game of life. They were watching the game that other people were playing, and they were at the mercy of others people's behaviors. And do you think they were happy? Well, it was obvious. No, they were not happy. The second couple, the one to our left, they were players in that context. And this has to be said, in that context, they were playing, meaning they were right there, they were living life. She knew she had some time off and she chose to do something with her time. She was going to see what was on offer in shops because she could go painting. And when you're a player like she was, did you see what happened? She inspired her friend to do the same. He maybe wasn't even thinking about being an active player in life, but he did. She reminded him that he could be of agency in his life. It could be a cause and not an effect. So she inspired him to go and look for little model cars he could collect, right? Also, it is not a coincidence, and we see that, notice it, pay attention in life, how people influence us and how we influence people in the way we talk to them and in our attitude. Every time that we are commenting, and definitely when we are criticizing and complaining about others, and maybe also about us actually, we are spectators of life. We are not living life. Every time you're actively doing something, we are players. We are right there on the field. There's one more difference that I like you to consider between the players on the field and people watching. The players on the field, they are so engrossed and taken and enjoying the game that they have no time to think about others people's business. They have to be focused right there and there. Let's imagine, for example, yeah, a football player or a baseball player, probably a baseball player gives even more the idea. When the ball is coming at such a speed towards you, you don't have time to think. You have to be totally present and hit the ball, right? You haven't got the luxury of thinking, oh, what is she doing? What are they doing? Okay? And in life, again, as always, this is just my opinion, my suggestion, but everybody is totally free to live life as they want. If you want to live a fulfilling life, I would advise you to be more of a player than a spectator. Having said that, I would like you to give me some example of when you have noticed in life that you went from being a spectators to being a players, and how your life has changed. I personally went from being almost always a spectators, and what was I a spectators of? I was a spectators of my own conditioning, on my own negative way of thinking, my negative mindset. And I was most of the time judging, truly, I really was like that. I was judging other people. I was judging my life experiencing. And I was at the mercy of this horror movie. And these horror movies was materializing things that I wasn't happy about. But I didn't know that I was doing it all. I was projecting everything out because of the movie that I was watching. I was just a spectator. Yes, right, Mariella, we are the actors of our life, exactly. Now that I am aware of this dynamic, everything shifted. Now I know that because, like Mariella rightly wrote, I am the actor of my life, but not only the actor, that's the point. We are not just the actor, we are, if we choose to be, otherwise we are really just the actor of a script that we acquired growing up, a script that we didn't choose. But if you choose, you can become the director of your life. You can sit down and write your script and play it out. So you can decide how your life is going to play out. But now, Evelyn, you are here and you are just the perfect coach for this live to come on and share some of your wisdom with us. Because Evelyn, she is, some of you have seen her, some of you know her, she is this is exactly what she does. She teaches people how to play. Do it again, Evelyn. I saw something happening. Approve, yeah. Magically appearing here. Are you going to be teletransported here? Ah, hello, beautiful. How are you?
You've got me in my Saturday civvies. I'm in my relaxed mode today, Luca.
Oh, man. I'm glad I got you.
You've never seen me in a hoodie before. This used to be this was my old logo, Let's Succeed. This is, I found it again.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So I'd love to have your take, your point of view, your opinion on what we're talking about today. Because this is what you actually teach people, isn't it?
This is what we talk about all the time. And yeah, you're spot on. It's the take on words, I think, that we just have hold on. Because when I hear you saying player, I hear player, you know. You know what a player, what we label as a player now, you know, somebody that plays one's off against the other. But absolutely, where you're coming from is that we can either be present.
Yes.
And even the word spectator, sometimes I feel, but on a different sense, where I spectate, where I look in, where I witness, but without the judgment. You know, there's, and then the others you're saying with the spectator, to allow everything to it control us, everything, our emotions, our moods. There's a reason as to why. There's somebody to blame, and it's never my fault, and that's just life, the way that it happens. So absolutely, the director of our own lives, I 100% fully believe that, because as like yourself was at the other end of it. But that's the beauty, what we were talking about, the player and the spectator. Even in a football scenario, one really doesn't exist without the other. Certainly, you know, it's the same as life. Life cannot exist without death, They're
Yes.
just on the, you know, one is like nearly a support system for the other, isn't it?
Yes.
And but so when I've been at one side, I think I like this side better. This is where I choose, but to be able to be at a place to not bring, I say, about judgment or on that outside. It's nearly like you remove yourself. Today, when I was at the supermarket, my big weekly outing with my uncle, there was a lady had gone through the checkout before me, and a young boy was serving her. And straight away, the old, what people normally go into the weather. Isn't it a bad day? Isn't it awful weather? Isn't it shocking? And I'm going, and of course, the wee boy was going, it is, it is, it is. He was feeding into this. And I just stood and smiled because I thought, this is just, but this is what everybody talks about. This is what everybody says. It's like, and then it'll go on to the next person, the next person. So it's been able to, do you know what, actually it's a good day. I wonder if that wee boy had said, do you know what, it's actually a great day, what the woman would have said back.
Yes. Hello, Clemente. Welcome. Yes, it's. You know what I think about that. But it's before I come to that, I'd like to take again on what you say, that we need both. And in fact, in any given time of our life, we can actually, and it's normal, it's natural, and it's also advisable to be both. Sometimes we are spectators and sometimes we are players. We are not always just one or the other. But when it comes to to being in a social context and to be complaining, but tell me what you think about it. I personally see it as, it's almost as a common ground that people have. It's almost as if, you know, if you complain with me, if you talk about the weather, you are my buddy. You belong to my group. You belong to my tribe, to my sister, to my system. If you have the cheek or the audacity, or how dare you to say, oh, life is beautiful, I love the weather, you're out from the group. You're out from the tribe. Do you see what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's what I found when I started doing what I was doing, that I was going to hear that.
Yes.
You
Yes.
and that old fluffy talk, Evelyn.
Yes, yes. You know, and correct me if I'm wrong. Am I right in saying that in English there's a saying that goes, it's a lonely way to the top? Hey, hello, Matilda, welcome. It's a lonely way to the top. And the way I interpret it, because of my personal experience, meaning I exactly went from, I was 100% one of those people that gets in a bar or in a pub and says, is the first one, unless somebody else already said it and I'm going to join in, I would have joined in to say, you know what, life is terrible. I hate him or blah, blah, blah. And I would have started with my shopping list and somebody would have joined in, and 15 minutes later, it was 4 or 5 of us with a pint, and we would complain all night long, become drunk together, and we were thinking of having a great time. When I changed my mindset, I wasn't doing that anymore. So either I would just not carry on or not join them in their complaint, or if I really felt like saying something, I would actually say something like, hey, I don't think life is terrible. I actually love my life. And they probably, maybe not directly, but you can feel that they go, and you feel a little bit left out. So.
Oh, that would be right enough. You know, and look, when you're making change, when you decide, I've had enough of this, I've had
Yes.
enough, and I want to make change. Of course, when we're transitioning through anything, because our energetic, our vibration changes, that is no longer on the same frequency as ourself starts to fall away. So it takes a wee while then, you see, for that to come back in, you know, for all these people to start coming into their lives. So it's like that, whenever the caterpillar is changing into the butterfly, the wee, whatever, what is it they call, whatever it is, it's not a cocoon, whatever
Metamorphosis.
that. Yeah. It's
the
that.
Metamorphosis, yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of like that transitioning period where you feel you're on your own, where you feel a bit lonely, or when you're, I know with people that I'm working with, that they feel that they're the only one that's experiencing this, but there's an abundance, a group everybody, you know, it's the same that so many people are all feeling like that. So I totally understand. And what I came to realize is that when I was transitioning, there was still the ego part of me was nearly justifying as to why, you know, or correcting someone on their words. So if a friend came to my house and said, "Oh, it's all right for you, Evelyn. I have 3 children," you know, I was going, "Have you looked at my life recently?" And or if they would say something, I'd say, "No, you shouldn't be saying that." But that was because I thought I was on this positive thing that I should correct. Like, no, you shouldn't be saying that. But instead now, when you transition further, it's just to allow it without the judgment. Because if I feel that need in me to say, "Hey, you know, stop it," or that's the ego part of me. However, if I can perhaps introduce something into the conversation, and normally something that will change the conversation is when you mention something funny. Something funny. I'll normally throw in a wee sexual innuendo or something that'll make people laugh. And then the conversations...
to change.
It's a universal language that everybody... I don't know if they can find fault in it.
No, you know, I would call that the power of persuasion. And sexual persuasion has probably always been the most attractive one.
Oh God, everybody, but it can be funny or whatever way you choose, but everybody finds it, there's a funny thing to be said about it, or they'll laugh about something, they'll tell something funny really about it, you know, and the seriousness of everything is forgotten about. The worries is forgot about, the stresses and the crack, you know. So I think that's a way of changing something. It's just through laughter, without me saying to someone, "You should say, don't say this or do say that."
Absolutely. And nobody, like you say, whenever, if we were saying to somebody, "You should" or "You shouldn't," the moment, I think it's almost a very natural, organic part of us. Our essence, our soul, if there's one thing that cannot stand is to be told what to do and that they should or shouldn't do something. So already somebody's going like this inside. They're not listening. We already have pissed them off. Yes. And to be able to very skillfully transform the energy and into the one of seriousness, into laughter and joyfulness. Yeah, I think that's the one of the best thing it could be done, because as you said also, some people, they love their position. They don't want to move from their position. You know, maybe, yes, for them, life is beep and nobody else is going to tell them otherwise. So why would we even think to do that? And why should they change their point of view anyway?
Absolutely. No, it's a need. And I think it's something that is a kind of across the board when people decide, you know, to change themselves, and they read a lot of books, they take a lot of courses. So I guess we kind of think we have it mastered, you know, as in we, and they don't, you know, we separate the two again. Until then, you must, but then that's a part of the transition as well, until you realize and learn more. And then you keep transitioning. And I think you just keep transitioning to just seeing it all as it is, really as it is. Those that will choose to, wherever they're attracted to, wants to stay there. And even though doesn't feel comfortable, sometimes people feel comfortable in anger or judgment or that. Somebody came into my house the other night that I hadn't seen in a long time, and they said, "I see you doing lives now," but they wouldn't know, I guess, that side of Evelyn. They just know Evelyn, you know.
Yes.
I see you're doing lives now on Facebook. I suppose you think you're a big celebrity. I turned around laughing and went, I am a celebrity.
Yes, you are, exactly.
So we laughed about that rather. But if you're at a wee part and thinking, "Oh Jesus, what is people actually thinking that of me? She thinks she's a celebrity." You know, there comes a stage we have to get past that really as well, and we just laugh about it, because obviously they still wanted to call at my house, and it was just a bit of to and fro banter, you know.
Yes. You made me thought of something that I think it's quite important, and I want to share it with you and with everybody. But don't say hello, Calogero. And Mariella, she says, I really think we must live out of the flock. Hello, I'm the black sheep. Go for it, Mariella. If you are enjoying being the black sheep, or if they consider you to be a black sheep, why not? That's beautiful. Yeah.
Be the shepherd. Be the shepherd.
Yes. Patricia say, oh, we break. So great to see you both together for the first time. Hello, Patricia. It's great that you're here. Mariella say, transform energy into happiness, harmony also. Yes, that's what Evelyn is doing. And I love that. And when you were talking, you know, you made me think of something that, like you were saying, it's almost, and also for us, during this transition process, it is a learning curve. I'll tell you, when I went from being a spectator of all my conditioning, my negative judgment, my horror movies. So when I understood that, hey, no, I don't want this anymore. I want to become the director of my life. And yes, I choose the life. It's beautiful and different from what it was. I had to deal, and it took me a while to deal with what you were talking about, with judging. There was still judgment in me towards the people that they were still happy being spectators. But I'll tell you what, and I invite everybody to do this. Easier said than done, I know. but here is when to be mindful of our judgment is useful. Okay, it's true. There are people, I know I'm overgeneralizing and I'm using a judgmental value to give the idea. I call them professional complainers. Let's say professional spectators. The one that, because I was one of them, that's why I laugh about it. The one that the moment they open the mouth, they're going to tell you how terrible the weather is, that they went through a terrible day, and the day after will be even more terrible than the one that they're living now. So you almost know the record they're playing. But what normally happens very subconsciously is that when we approach these people, we are not really listening, are we? Okay, either, and I went through all these phases, either we try to make them see something that they don't want to see, like they say, oh, life is terrible, for example, and you say, but no, it's not, that's your opinion. So we try to force our opinion on them, which is a lost battle. Forget it, really forget it. You just polarize the situation, you lose your time. Or if we are skillful enough to keep our mind shut, most of the time we are thinking of in ourselves, oh, if they go again, how boring, how negative they are. So we are judging them. And what we do actually energetically, we lock them even more into their story. They become even more the spectator of the movie. So here is the invite. It takes intention first. We have to want to do this. And then it takes quite a bit of presence and active listening. If we choose, when we meet again one of these people, if we truly and truly listen to them, but look at them and listen without judgment, of course, we don't know, but they may be heard for the first time ever, and they might change their tone. What would you say?
Oh, absolutely. That's totally. I think people are just very programmed.
Yes.
Into what they say. In a coaching environment, when you're coaching or working with clients, of course, they have now made the choice. They have now made the decision that they are now wanting to make change. So for me, in that environment, that's where now, if you wish me to hold you accountable, anything that comes out of here, I'm going to stop you, and we're going to just bring awareness, because as much as it's just bringing the awareness, I actually said that, or they'll say, oh my God, I'm always saying that. But it's just that it's so heavily programmed into the mind. And that's the thing where it is in the environment, is to listen. Is right, Luca? It's just to listen and hear. Because as much as you have friends and families or husbands and wives around you, they have gotten used to people just being that they are. And you may say something and they don't believe you, or you say you're going to do something and you never follow through. So there's really not that support system too. And for a lot of people in their lives, they haven't really been listened to. But it's being listened to and then understand, am I now going to choose to remain the victim of this story, or now change the story to, and then and shift on. But yeah, it comes from really somewhere deep inside of something that has happened really in the past. When I came home today, I thought of my mother who's passed 20 years. And I came into my own three children now. One of them's in their 20s and late teenagers, the two boys. Of course, they all were out last night for the new opening of everything.
Yes.
And I was coming in with the shopping, and one was lying on the seat with the blinds pulled, the other were in their beds. And here was me coming in with the shopping, okay? And I thought of my mother, and I says, if my mother walked through this door now, the scenario will be completely different. Because if that had been us, oh my God. Look at me coming in with all this shopping. Get up, you open them. But I just thought, just let them sleep. There's not one thing that they will add to my day today, because they don't, number one, have the energy. They have worked hard all week. They blew off a bit of steam last night. But look at me, I'm carrying in the shopping and none of you's here to help me. I thought, I don't mind doing this. Let them sleep, let them lie on, because it was a better option. But I just went back to my mum, who would have been the same age as me, and thinking, that would never have happened. We would have been killed.
Yes, yeah, that's, you see, I'm imagining like let's say the script of the live script of your mom was probably quite different from your actual current live script. And you're directing your life in a quite different way. And I'm laughing when you were saying that. I was reading on what Mariella wrote, because Mariella wrote, okay, in conventional people, I don't like people who move, think, make something only because other people do it without a personality. And then I guess she was referring to your kids doing what they felt like doing and not what they felt that they should be doing. She's writing, I am myself, and I choose to do something only if I want it, not for conformism. Or maybe not, she wasn't relating to that, but she, as you were saying about your kids doing their own thing, and if that would have been your mom, they should have behaved in a different way.
She would have behaved in a different way than
yes. But yes, and yes, and she probably would have brought out in somebody what Mariella is talking about. The fact that I am myself and I want to do what I want to do, not because somebody else is telling me to do that. In other words, I think that because you've been through, you've seen what it means to be at the mercy of mental conditioning and to expect other people to do what we want them to do, that now you give your children the freedom to be authentic, to be themselves.
Well, this is it. You know what? It leaves for peace. That's what it leaves for, peace. And some may look in on it and say, well, now, if that was in my house, that wouldn't happen. I would have them up. Yeah. They would be doing this and doing that. And that's quite all right. You know, whatever people choose to do in their lives. Does it mean as well if it happening on a daily basis? The bigger picture, this is for me to be able to witness, to be able to look in on the picture, that actually through an event last night that took place, even though my boys sometimes are the best of friends, or they can actually kill other, they were more, and they were sort of at a falling out stage through the week, but they were more than glad of having each other last night. So I was able to witness and look in at this and think, you know, I'm blessed. Thank you so much. Now, on the lesson that they have learned last night, hopefully they've seen the appreciation that they have for one another, that they were there for each other. And that, you know, I see my daughter, because she has set up her own business and she's been working very hard last night, and she was out with her, you know, got out to celebrate with her friends. Allow that. There's just because it's Saturday, and years ago we were made get up, clean this, wash this, hoover this, nobody lay on. Just, there's peace. Everybody, and they're doing their best, and that's how I see it. That's what makes life easier and peaceful, because I choose what my actions is, not based on when I was growing up. I think as parents, sorry, that we would have had it happen in my day, in my day, that wouldn't have happened. And we sort of revert back to whenever we were younger.
Yes. Hello, Josie, welcome. But you know, not many people think like you think and have changed their mindset like you have. Most people, I bet, they would still have interiorized their upbringing, and they would act like their parents did, you know. And if challenged, they would be like, this is the way I was brought up, and this is the way that I have to behave towards my kids. So it takes quite a revolutionary kind of thinking and being really aware of what happened and what you choose to have happening in your life now to behave in a different way. And I totally resonate with you, because to me it's the same. Peace, harmony, call it serenity, is, wow, the most precious thing. Hello, Stefania. It really is. I think that's when there's peace and harmony, everything else just comes into place.
That's all you want. You know, the house will get tidied up, the things will get done. I got my siesta. I still practice my Spanish thing. I get my siesta every so often, you know, but that's all we want. But we have to have the peace in us. If we do not have that peace within us, there's no way that we can have that in our life. And I continually say, to be the change that you wish to see. So again, you know, if I project out, I don't like this in people, I hate this about people, again, that is, I'm not fully in peace within myself.
Yes.
I accept, you know, you know, it's an acceptance of things too. But again, knowing your boundaries, knowing that I'm not a walkover at the same time, or allowing it. But when you're, I really believe when you do love yourself, and not in an egotistical way, you're able to say, no, thank you so much for your opinion, or thank you so much for asking, but not today. Yes. Because I won't take offense. And I know when I speak with you, I know that if we say something, I know that you'll not take offense from something, nor will I, because that is never our intention to begin with.
Yes, yes. And when we think, when we don't like something or somebody, a situation or somebody, it's amazing how we become a magnet for it. If the movie, when we are the spectators of a movie that goes, life is terrible, life is full of and so on and so on, life will always present us with these people and with this situation. It was so crystal clear for me. I was just always meeting opportunity to argue with somebody, and now it doesn't happen. I was always encountering a car accident or people that would steal something from me, and now it doesn't happen. And then I thought, why? Again, because our mind moving is different. Now I'm the spectator of a different movie. And most of the time, actually, I'm not even watching the movie. I'm just getting down and play the game. Don't you think so? That sometimes, yes, let's say I'm coming with you, I'm coming to see you, and I ask you for advice. Would you advise me? Let's say I have a dream. How much time would you suggest that I would spend in my head writing my script, or down on the field and playing out my dream, so to speak? Like, how much do you think it's planning, it's writing the script of the movie, or how much is actually being the act of the player? Or was it clear enough?
I think so.
Yes.
on a time frame to do something like that, it would need to be, as far as, it depends on what you want to create, what your dream is, how far you have transitioned. Certainly everybody's manifesting constantly. It doesn't take that long. If you've just come out of one argument and you're just walking down the street, and the next thing you're into another argument, you know, it doesn't really take that long for those things to happen. But it's being consciously aware of what I wish to create. And what actually takes up quite a time for people is wondering what I actually wish to create. What do I want?
Right.
Because again, we're very familiar with what I don't like,
Yes.
what I don't want.
Yes.
So tell me what you like. Tell me what you would wish to create. And then the creation can only go as far as the human mind can know. And even at a stretch, we could maybe push it a wee bit, further. Because I know that had, again, part of the transition. And for me, that I think it would have been out of my absolute comprehension altogether to achieve a lot of the things that have happened. So again, we'll just do this wee one. Oh God, this one, and then we'll just do this wee one, and then it gets into the natural state of being, where you're just a natural state of being, and things start happening and happening. When people wish to manifest or create, which we always are, by the way, people have this thing that to manifest is only to manifest good things. A manifestation is just what comes into your life through your thoughts, feelings, and words, actions. And actually, the more that you repeat it or do it, or you do it unconsciously, the thing starts happening. So this is what is always, always happening. And we just get to choose on which part we want to do it. We want to do it, as you say, the spectator or the player. Where do you want to be on the field here? It's there. Everything, it's a neutral energy. You're just getting what you're putting out. And so that just takes a wee bit longer for people, because now we have to transition. Now we have to get rid of stop thinking this way. Now we have to get rid of the victim. Now we have to come to healing. Now we have to pass forgiveness. And that can be like the rope trend. And we get so far, and then something happens and we start slipping back down again. And I'm like, Jesus, this is such hard work. And even by putting out that affirmation, this is hard work. Of course it's hard. Let's give you something harder, because you've just affirmed that.
Yes.
So, okay. And witness it and see. Some days, this can be not as easy as I thought. But then we affirm to ourselves that each day it gets easier and easier. Every day I become more aware of my thoughts, of my words, of my actions. And then once we start to come through that. But I know even for me now, Luca, for the bigger things that I wish to see, and I feel it, I absolutely feel it 100% in my body. Reality will say one thing to you: Evelyn, you don't have the money to get the dream that you're looking for. But I'm not even going to rely on money, because again, that's my human conditioning. You need money to buy this. How else are you going to get it? Is somebody going to give it to you? Are you going to, that doesn't come into thinking. No. And then you'll say, so how are you going to get that money? So all these things come in. But I just keep what my vision is, what my long-term thing, and I prepare for when it comes. I prepare, and act as though it's here. So how each day everybody should ask themselves, how have I prepared myself this day for when it does arrive? Because if it landed and you're not ready, you're like overwhelmed.
Yes. So you reminded me of something that happened to me that I'd like to share quickly. It is about just not overthinking about things. Just want to say hello to Stefania, and Mariella says, because of course you must have a big personality. The first freedom is mental freedom. Absolutely, yes. You have to get rid of the mental boundaries and believe you can do something. You reminded me of the book while you were talking, Evelyn, about, not worrying and not thinking too much about things will come to fruition. There's a book that I read, and I'm not really sure it was the title of the book or the title of a paragraph in the book. It was one of the Crayons book. I don't know if you know what Crayons is, but it's Lee Carroll is the writer of the book, which is this man that apparently channels this entity, which is called Crayon. And in one of the book, which is in this title, the title goes, "Don't Think Like a Human." It tells the story of this man that had to go, I can't remember the details, but had to go from one place to another. And he thinks that he'll never get there because he had to go through a place where there was like a huge valley where there's no connection between the two parts okay, of this valley. There's like a big drop. But he thinks, okay, I'm gonna go anywhere because I have to go there. And as it happened, when he got there, a bridge has been built, but he wasn't aware of it. So in other words, if we think with our rational mind, but how am I gonna get there? How will I ever materialize what I want to materialize? We may stop ourselves from achieving something that we would achieve even without knowing how the unfolding is gonna happen. And that's the magic of life, I believe.
That's the trust.
Yes.
That's
yes.
the trust. That's the
Yes.
trust. Because,
Yes.
and that's letting go that I need to control everything, that we need to control the time frame, that we need to control how it all happens. Because if we control how everything happens, it's sorted. I'm in charge. I can deal with my emotions. I'm prepared for this, that it's happening. So there was this whole thing that happened. No one had any control. And it was like, through it, just, here you go. Enjoy yourselves. What are you going to do now? So nobody's prepared for this. What did people do? Oh my word, didn't they go into toilet rolls, sanitizers, fear? Let's get. I walked in again to the shop today and it says there's an abundance of sanitizers, an abundance of toilet rolls. But yet and all people went, oh my God, let's.
But I don't know if in Ireland happened like in London, but when the lockdown started, it's cute, but well, I don't know why people, they were literally shitting themselves. I don't know, because you would go to a supermarket, seriously, and there was no paper roll. It was like finding gold. It's like, what? Free, like, is happening. It's amazing.
I know. Fear.
Yeah.
And this, and that's a wee thing too, that, again, to release, I believe, judgment on where, yes, there's been blame put on governments and watch what they're feeding you and stuff. But I actually can sit back. Again, it's quite humorous, because if you can remove yourself from a situation, and I mean like your energetic entity, your spiritual entity, because we're surrounded by this. And I absolutely believe that this is all witnessed in, looking at it and just actually having a laugh, because it's like, we've just given you an opportunity here. It's nothing. You can choose out of this one, because we've removed all control. We've removed all systems. We've removed everything. However, we shall still gift you with the blessings of internet. We'll not be too mad and just remove all of that as well.
Yes.
We're not going to make you go out and dig in the garden and plant your own potatoes now. But so we'll leave you with a few things that you need, that you believe you need to exist. So now, that's all that's happened. You know, and there's going to be a lot of you get to choose. What will you choose in this moment? And not even this moment, but any moment that we have no control over anything, only ourselves. So in every given moment, what will you choose? And that's the day that you get to choose. Do I choose out of fear, or do I choose from love and witnesses, and actually look in and smile and say thank you? Because there's absolutely nothing to give thanks for, because I tell you, look at this, I give blessings. I give blessings for Mother Earth for this time, and I'm hoping that people, again, with appreciation. But you do know that there'll be people still there has to be the balance that will go out, and they have got now the freedom, which they had been looking through lockdown. They were disappointed in lockdown. I can't get out to my friends. Now they will start getting out to their friends, but they will talk about being in lockdown that they didn't want to be in. And that's the way that it...
Yes. So will there be spectators or players? What?
Yeah.
Exactly. What will they choose? Let me see. Mariella wrote something here that I'd like to share with you. There is only, Mariella is writing, there is only one case when I choose to be a spectator. When I meet interesting people from whom I can learn something special, important for my life, for my personality. And then she writes, like you too, for example.
Oh,
Thank you very much, Mariella.
Thank you.
But this is a very, very profound statement, though, because in fact, when we choose to be spectators of something we can learn from, even being a spectators become a very, 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 very useful and productive experience. Here again, no judgment anywhere is appropriate, because in any given moment in time is more beneficial, appropriate to be a spectator, and in other moments is probably more appropriate to be a player, right? And also, like you were
Yeah,
saying,
it's getting a
it's
nice
about,
wee balance.
exactly, like you were saying before as well. Get ready for the unknown, the unexpected. For
Always prepare. Always
exactly,
prepare.
exactly. Doesn't mean you have to be fearful and waiting for and save for the rainy day and live in fear. No. Although you can be in love, in abundance, in being inspired, although knowing that in fact anything can happen. And if it's the fan, you're gonna be prepared for it. You're not going to go into shock. And that's when,
And the shock and be the sheep and
yes,
follow. And again, we choose choices through fear, because if I'm seen as different, what people will say about me, that I give everything's fear, that I'll fear judgment. So I'll just go with this flow. I'll feed into this, and it's all energy, really. It's all energy. But I believe, look, at this time, what I am witnessing or seeing, and especially with women, a huge shift, a huge awakening of this, and yeah, I think there's this month. I think up until the 8th of August, a huge different things in energy, and instantaneously manifesting. I'm not joking you, and I promise you, this may never rise of this seat. Everything for me is happening like that, as I am able to take it. Because if the key, whatever my long-term goal is, if it came now, am I ready? No, I'm not ready. The simple reason I'm not ready, because I would have to move some road for a few months of the year, and it's not the right time for my children. So, but I will always prepare for that. So we always be careful what we wish for, because if it was handed to you now, are you ready?
ready.
The business that you're dreaming of doing, if a client or if somebody come to you, are you ready? Are you ready?
Yes.
Instead of going, oh shit, what'll I do now? What's the panic? I said to my daughter, she started hers, prepare, prepare, prepare. I said, prepare, because you're preparing and being in the act as though it has already happened. So that when it does happen, everything's there.
Yes, absolutely. And that's the magic of training, so to speak. That when something happens, even just to have thought about it, to have lived it in your mind, you have the neurological connection to do it flawlessly without
Yeah.
having to panic and then to construct a mental picture of what you're doing and knowing what to do. Yes, absolutely. And you're
And
right.
and that's part of the trust thing. You're
Yes,
projecting that thought out. I'm getting ready for my clients. I'm preparing for my clients. And even though people will say, but you don't have, how do you know your business is going to be successful? How do you know anybody's going to come to you? Statistics is showing that this will fail within the first year. You have an awful lot of competition. And that's what you're going to receive from the spectators of
yes,
all of why your thing won't work. However,
yes,
then we can make the choice on the other side.
yes,
Number one, I always say, be mindful of who we share our dreams and visions with. Even though we feel the excitement, doesn't mean that other people will share it. They feel that they sometimes come from a place of love, but it is fear within them. Oh, don't get ahead of yourself. Don't invest too much money. Now, have that wee second job on the backup, just in case, because you still have these bills to pay for. So you're going to get that scenario. So connect with those that do get your dream and vision, because when two or more speak of it, it happens all the quicker. So by your action of acting out as though and knowing and trusting that this will all come without even an attachment to it. However it's to be delivered to me, it shall be delivered, but that I'm ready. And that's how we act before the thing, instead of saying, oh, I'll wait till my business builds up before I set up my website. I'll wait till I get the customer before I buy this, just in case it doesn't work out. That's the belief you're putting out. It's that trust.
absolutely. Thank you. And you say something that I'd like to mention again really quickly before we have to finish now.
Oh, yes, if I talk too long, sorry, Luca.
That's perfect. If you have a dream, share it with if you can choose, with a player, and not with the spectators that you know is gonna downsize or criticize your dream, because a dream is like a baby, like a tiny seed that needs to be nurtured. So don't waste your time to talk to somebody that you know they're gonna talk negatively out of it. So keep it for yourself or share it with like-minded people, with a peer group that can support you. Thank you so much, Evelyn, for coming on. It's always wonderful to have you. And thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Luca.
I love you.
Thank you, everybody.
And we're going to see each other sometime this week, Wednesday, 6 o'clock.
I'm taller. When you watch the replay, I'll be taller than you, Luca. I'm the big sis. You're like the wee boy down. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.